2, 3, and we are recording. Okay. So, we are Team 24, Micah Barker and Jiwon Seo.
Yes.
Okay. We were tasked with finding a solution for the social dilemma. And the main thing that comes to mind right now is how to get out of the matrix without knowing you're actually in the matrix. And so that actually presented a few, I guess, interesting things for us to research. A few of those are some statistics for us. The main thing that jumped out was the almost eerily similar correlation with the AIDS and HIV pandemic that was happening during the 90s and late 80s. Some of the numbers almost match up perfectly with, stats with mental health and depression and anxiety and that kind of thing. As you can see, what this statistic is trying to show is for the entire course of late 80s up to 2000, this is the total number of cases and the total number of deaths correlated with those cases. Now, in the second statistic here, it shows a dramatic decrease in the amount of cases related to HIV and AIDS following efforts to educate the younger population, as well as 90,000 case decrease per year since 1992 to 2000. So the awareness here is the ultimate key, right? We have to educate the young Americans so that they can understand, the problems that we're going to face in the future with technology. Here's a little kind of graphic to show about how drastically the cases dropped after the awareness campaigns. All right. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead and one more. One more. Okay, cool. So suicidal ideation is probably one of the most prominent issues that the social dilemma is dealing with. You can see here, this is a September 2020 statistic where almost 80,000 youth reported experiencing thoughts of suicide or the idea of, ceasing to exist. According to the Mental Health Association of America, the people most at risk for mental health conditions are youth and LGBTQ, right? So out of people screened for anxiety or depression, 70% reported that one out of the top 3 things contributing to their mental health concerns was loneliness or isolation. So this is a little visual to kind of give us an idea of how actually drastic the suicide rates and self-harm for the younger female teen population. You'll see here preteens are actually up 151% since 2009, which is when social media apps became widely available for use on mobile devices. On the next slide here, we show not just suicide, but also just for self-harm, how we've gone up just in preteens from 189, and for 15 to 19, we still are gone up 62%. So of course something needs to be done, but what can we do?
So the screen time leads to this suicide rates high, and screen time makes teenager not hanging out with friends, in no rush to drive, how to drive, and less dating, less sex, and more likely to feel lonely. And they don't like to get enough sleep because of they are doing smartphone at the night. Because of that, we listed this score.
All right. So the I think following Arizona state sexual health protocol is a good way to kind of overcome this problem that we're dealing with the social dilemma. And the way to do that is to be following that structure for the sexual health program. But instead of sexual health, we're going to be relating it to mental health and how technology and social media impact that. Plan of attack is to take this plan and present it to TUSD's Research and Development Department, who I'm told is in charge of deciding if curriculum's going to make it to the next level or not. And if it does, I'm sure there will be some revisions that we'll have to make, but once the revisions are completed, we'll be presenting to the district board, and then from there, hopefully to the committee itself. And we plan on doing that by campaigning across the various campuses in Arizona and working with the social dilemma team to kind of expose as much of the community as we can to this. But how are we going to do this? The program's going to be set up to either be a 4-week course, either in the spring or the fall, and then we have like an optional volunteer-led summer boot camp during the summer. But for right now, we're thinking of either a 4-week course, or if it's more cost effective, we'll be doing like an assembly type thing. But either way, it's going to happen once per year, and this is going to be kind of the basic curriculum for it. So the first section, we'll call it part 1. It's gonna kind of focus exclusively on like the sociology and basic psychology of social media apps and advertising, and how like what data is, right? How it's being used to specifically target, certain consumers with those ads. We're gonna reduce the cost by pretty much offering this opportunity to the universities and community health majors and humanities majors and things like that, students that actually need the volunteer hours. And then we'll utilize 1 to 2 supervisors per district to help almost train these volunteers or to guide them throughout the program. And so, yeah, that's going to be awesome. The second part of the course is going to be mostly digital competency. So not only are we addressing the social dilemma, but we're also addressing like ignorance, technological ignorance with people like parents and children that actually are part of the digital divide that don't have readily accessible computers and things like that. So part 1 focuses on false news, screen time. Like I was saying, okay, what data is, how it's being used, that kind of thing. The main thing that we want to be doing here is presenting facts rather than like somebody's opinion on what's going on, right? So this is going to be, strictly what it is, how it works. And then if students have questions regarding anything, that's what the educators are there for, is to kind of lay, fact and fiction side by side and for them to determine how they feel about it, which is going to be an easy thing for kids at this age. We're going to be mostly using kind of like games with involving some sort of, physical activity or something like that for these kids to kind of socialize and really kind of know that technology is there and what it is, but also know that technology isn't the only thing out there for entertainment and socialization. All right. Part 2 is digital competency. So this is, basic typing. This is how to use, Microsoft Word maybe, or like PowerPoint. A lot of kids are taught this kind of basic stuff, or they at least have exposure to it upon entering the school system. But I've actually made phone calls to almost every single one of Tucson Unified School District's high schools, and a lot of them don't actually offer an exploratory wheel of some sort, like typing or like Photoshop. I was talking to a lot of the school counselors and assistant principals, and nobody actually offers this outside of the career and technical education like program that goes across TUSD. The problem with that is that even though the classes are available to every student technically, not everybody has reliable transportation to drive across town to utilize some of these programs. So that's going to be the main goal here, is to kind of provide more exposure and make sure that they know what they're doing when they're using the technology.
So this leads to the summer boot camp, which is non-school program, but during the summer break, the participants will meet together with mask and we'll socialize together. We're going to play the game together about the psychological effect of social media. And they will learn new software, as Mika mentioned, using Microsoft or Adobe. They can even make a short video illustration and presentation. The example of summer boot camp, they meet at 9 a.m. and introduce themselves, and they began their game. The first game was using the Kahoot quiz application, and they solved the problem using the knowledge they learned before they doing the quiz. The instructor will teach them what to know about social dilemma, and they will race who has the most knowledge about the social dilemma. They eat lunch and they play the game again about the social dilemma misunderstanding they had before using the bingo game. And they play soccer. Soccer is one of the physical activity that people can join together and improve their strength without worrying about the mental disorder. At around the 5 p.m., they wrap up cleaning up and summarizing what they learned and go home. So where do we get all this money to pay to instructors? And one of the options is mental health organization, and we could ask NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, spread all around the U.S. There's also some in Arizona, and another option would be Arizona Association for Play Therapy or Arizona Council on Compulsive Gambling. We could ask either of these organizations to pay or sponsor the program, or we could ask the company like Kahoot that we are going to use this application during the quiz, and would they want to pay for us? So what we expect to be the effect of summer boot camp is giving the opportunity for students to learn new things, social dilemma, media addiction, and screen time, and give college students a place to volunteer. Reduce the screen time of their smartphone, improve the mental health of the student. Workshop will be like learning how to do Adobe and Microsoft will be the useful tool in the future at their career. Thank you.